Last hour here on a Wednesday, and it has been a heck of a week already. We've talked about quite a bit today. Still back and forth, a lot of good calls, good challenges to what's happening with the Iran situation. We're going to be all over that again this hour. More of your phone calls, too, keeping you up to date on your way home on a Wednesday. Allen and Company, next sponsor up on the show. For any kind of your jewelry, either giving or giving for yourself. Ladies, sometimes you just need to treat yourself. You just do. That knucklehead isn't going to get it, so go get it for yourself, and they'll totally take care of you at Allen and Company. If it's a special occasion, guys, and you're the gift giver and you have you're over your head, they'll actually work with you, say on an engagement setting or even a specialty gift, to let her go ahead of you, do a little browsing, create a wish list. Everything on that list is approved by her. They'll just kind of do it with a wink and a nod. You can sneak back in there and purchase something from that list. She's still going to be surprised about it. But now you know you're in her style range, and you can decide your price range, and it all kind of works together. They're just good like that. The Thompson family over at Allen and Company. I love doing business with good local folks, especially when it comes to diamonds. I'm telling you, all the diamond prices in every store in the country, for the most part, the diamonds are all about the same prices. That whole market kind of works on a consignment system. What you get at Allen Company is that specialty work that Allen can do for you, that custom work, that custom design work, the attention to detail, the friendliness. Man, I'd take that over a chain store any day. They're in Vestavia, and again, for all your cleanings, upgrades, fixing prongs, broken chains, missing stones, stuff that happens, let them do the work for you. Allen tries to turn it around in a week and get it right back to you, and everything stays on site in their store, in their vault. They do the work and get it right back to you. I love it. Allen and Company in Vestavia, right there on Highway 31. Let me give you a landmark. It's kind of on that car wash fire department side of 31 in Vestavia. All right, let's keep on trucking with the news. Of course, the world's watching what could be the beginning of the end of the situation with Iran if talks go well. J.D. Vance is on his way to Pakistan to engage in those talks with Trump's negotiation team. A lot of bad information getting out about what the bullet points are. Those bullet points that were passed around by CNN yesterday have misled a lot of people. Trump's not going to cave on this issue. It's something he's talked about since 1982. We finally had to act on something that every other president has punted. The world will be a safer place. People will be freer when all this is over. And sometimes you just got to do the right thing and take the political risk. Right now in the markets, the equities markets, for example, the Dow, all of those folks, I think they've seen bottom. They all dove back in today hard. Most of those markets up close to 3%, 2.85% on the Dow. By way of points, 1326. Oil it had a crash, not really a crash, but a huge drop last night. Hung around 90. They're still waiting on clarity over the Strait. Most of that stuff's going to get worked out. Speaking of the Strait, one point, our previous caller, and I appreciate his worldview. He feels like Trump's made a mistake and is somehow behind the eight ball on this. We just affected the most successful military operation in the shortest amount of time in the history of this country against a modern army. We exposed the fallacy of the Chinese anti-aircraft system and their radar systems. The Chinese are hiding now because they have sold the bill of goods to countries all over the world. That also exposes them and their relationship to China. We're freeing energy markets for decades that could not have to sit and suffer through what has always been the threat that is the Strait of Hormuz. And people forget this history, but I'll give you a quick reminder. We've been here before. Geographically, Iran is not going to change borders and the Strait's not going to move. So before or after all these negotiations, the Iranians are still going to have a strategic geographical advantage over the Strait. Whether we're at peace or back at war, they did this in the 80s. They threatened world oil traffic. They had not become the behemoth, at least militarily, that they became. They didn't have a sophisticated missile program. All they had were mines and threats. And Reagan had to send destroyers and Navy escorts through the Strait so we could escort oil ships so we didn't have an energy crisis in the late 80s. One of our listeners was part of those escorts, and he called here right at the opening days of that. The Iranians have always threatened the Strait. The difference in the 80s, right after they took our hostages and took over, started abusing their citizens and doing all the stuff they've done in the world, they were still tied up in a war with the Iraqis. And so we allowed, and I'm not saying our government's been pure at all in any of this stuff, but we allowed that war to go on. In some ways, we were arming both sides, because if those two were shooting it out with each other, they were leaving everybody else alone. It was the end of the Iraq war. And you could trace it back and show that our long-term, our second invasion of Iraq. Now, the first invasion, you could say, to free Kuwait and the incursion by Saddam Hussein, we liberated Kuwait, and then we got out. And a lot of people said, well, we needed to finish the job. Well, here comes W. W goes in and gets us into trying to nation build and be on the ground and rebuild the country. It took us, 3 days to topple Saddam Hussein. He goes on the run. He gets in a spider hole. We eventually catch up to him. That was a success as well. But we lost a lot of troops, and the Iranians got on that battlefield and killed our soldiers and involved themselves in this war. And it opened up the region to the Iranians. Again, by collapsing the Iraqi government, as bad as Hussein was, it took a check on the Iranians away, and the Iranians grew stronger. And then terrorism grew stronger still when Barack Obama abandoned Iraq the way he did, haphazardly, and that led to the rise of ISIS. There are always crazy consequences when you're dealing in this region. Even Afghanistan, we were on the ground in Afghanistan trying to get the Soviets out of there, arming the Mujahideen and doing deals with Osama bin Laden because he had an engineering firm. He was digging tunnels so that people could hide down in the tunnels and come out with Stinger missiles and shoot the Soviets. We were fighting the commies in those days. That was the bigger beast. We weren't worried about these crazy towel heads and their terrorism goals. But after the Soviet Union fell, when Russia was no longer the main enemy, Iran kept growing and growing in power. And I'll remind you, they have threatened us and their neighbors and the world over and over. When they chant death to America, they mean it. That's not a chant. That's not a bumper sticker. That's not a pep rally. That is their policy. It's why they formed the country. They believe that they are responsible to bring about the end of the world and bring the Mahdi back by creating a big war at the end of the world in which Islam wins. And it's a deep-seated, fervent belief among their most radical clerics and their people that they demand adhere to this institution. And the reason they're developing all of their weapons is not to be just to have parity in the region or to have power so they can make money like some other countries may be motivated to do, or to hold off their rivals. They're doing it to bring about the end of the world. They talk about it all the time. In their madrasas, all of their clerics, they put out fatwas all the time and give whole 3-hour sermons on the same subject. And all the while they're building their infrastructure, building a very sophisticated drone and missile program. Barack Obama gave them a technology transfer when he allowed a drone to fall into their hands that they reverse engineered. These are sophisticated, smart, scientific people who believe in an end times fatal ideology, and they have been acting on it with all of their might to bring about what their goal is as a nation. Part of it's to wipe out Israel, but by extension us. And we've been tied to Israel in that from the first day they took over in 1979. It is that most of that's over. We don't know what's left of their government. I'm not even sure we know who we're negotiating with, but 100% we're in the driver's seat in this thing. We can go back to shooting them tomorrow. What we want, though, is a quicker end to it. We've done the objectives that we came in to do have been achieved. Now it's about trying to achieve a peace through diplomacy. We've done the peace through strength thing. We've shown the strength, the resolve, the tenacity, and unbelievable capability in the region and to the world. And now it's time to get at the table and negotiate something that could be better for their people and the world and the region. There's so much potential in the upside of this, but the risk had to be taken. And I have watched my entire lifetime, since I was in the 7th grade, every president we've had since then, Democrat and Republican, fold on this issue and kick it down the road to another day. And they've all acknowledged the same thing. The Iranians have a dangerous missile and nuclear program that they wanted to achieve, just like the North Koreans, and get to the point where they could threaten the world and there wasn't much you could do about it. We were really close to that. If we weren't close to it, they walked into the negotiations and told us what they had and basically dared us to do anything about it. That's how all this started. We were negotiating, if you remember, before the bombing started. This is not in isolation, and this is not Iraq. It's a different country. It's a different region. It's a different people, different history. This is not Afghanistan. That's a whole nother tribal region that's not even a real country. We're not trying to nation build. We're not even trying to tell them who to elect. But the threat is gone. We achieved that and did it in spectacular fashion in just a matter of days. You can't deny that. That is one of the biggest wins our military has ever had. So good. Prayers up for good, safe, peaceful negotiations any day now. Here's Sam on a cell phone. If Sam's still there, we'll get some more calls in here. Who's left, AJ? I'm looking at my call board. Did we go through all of them already? Good. That gives me a chance to get one more sponsor in here and get the break in on time. I got to rent in there. Forgot what time it was. Alabama Dental bringing you the show tonight. AlabamaDental.com. That's Dr. Brian. All four of those doctors, all four of those dentists in a big comprehensive practice that can just take care of you. They really do have it down. They don't waste your time. When you go for an appointment, they get you in there and get you out, get you back on with your day. They know it's inconvenient. So they've stretched out their hours till 7 o'clock. They have the Saturday hours. They've got all the technology in the world to diagnose you. 4 different specialists. This is the place to really get quality dental care with a practice that cares about the convenience and the lifestyles of their own patients. So they do the extra stuff that some practices just can't. When you've got 4 dentists, you can do those hours. And I love that. It's my dentist. I want him to be your dentist. Y'all go see Dr. Brian and all of them at alabamadental.com, alabamadental.com. Right back after this. All right, here we go. 522 Leland Live talking to an M5. Man, we're just about going to run out of time. I got some other developing stuff starting to pop up in the news too that we need to get to. First up, though, Gutter Cap bringing you the show tonight. That is Chris and his team. Man, they are A+ rated, been at it for over 25 years and just excellent at what they do in terms of saving you from the ravages of having clogged gutters. Man, it can ruin a lot of stuff. You know, the gutters have a job is to move that water off your roof and away from your foundation and the bottom of your house. It needs to come down the roof and get away from there. Otherwise, you got foundation issues. Then when your gutters get clogged, that's not happening. And then you could have rot and mold and all kinds of stuff going on in your gutters. And it's just amazing that they don't just install gutter covers when they put gutters on your house when it's brand new, but they don't. A lot of folks just deal with this every year or pay somebody to get up there or just don't even know what's going on up there. Y'all, let Gutter Cap come and fix this once and for all. Their system works. Their materials are superior to anybody in the industry, which is why they patented their all aluminum system. You got 45% off right now with Gutter Cap. They're running that special through the spring, sort of their spring special, and they're going to keep that in place as long as y'all keep taking them up on it. Get them over there and let them give you a free estimate. And once they're done, it's done. Seamless, except for maybe the corners. They spit it out in these one-piece sections, custom fit for your house. Make sure everything's flowing and hanging right, and it is done. Y'all can trust this company to do it. And don't get them confused with all those imitators out there. This is guttercapbham.com, guttercapbirmingham.com, actually, not the Beham. Sometimes we get those interchanged. guttercapbirmingham.com. Their phone number is 205-832-2212, Guttercap Birmingham. All right, a developing story right now involving some classified information being leaked. The FBI with a news conference just a little while ago saying that it's a former veteran that worked for the federal government, and details are still kind of eking out on it, but apparently she was leaking, this is a female, leaking classified stuff to the media, as has been the case. The government's just full of these people. Don't know the details of what was leaked. Some of that will come out here in just a minute, but the FBI putting word out about that here just this afternoon. There's another story too that is having to do with a judicial ruling. I am telling you, one of the things, if this country needs an enema, and it needs to be stuck in the syringe for the enema needs to be stuck in our judicial system. We have got these federal judges with lifetime appointments that are making stuff up. They are substituting their own political will and political judgment for the law. And our system was never supposed to be that way. The lifetime appointments were supposed to be to insulate them from the pressures of politics. And yet what we have are people that get on the bench and start trying to rule as if they're a legislative body. And if they don't like a law, they'll ignore it. Or if they want to invent a law, they'll just invent one and put it in the ruling. And it is just gumming up, clogging up the appellate system. Let me tell you why I'm raging on that subject right now. A Biden appointee this afternoon, listen to this stupidity. This is just stupid. Just blocked the Trump administration from allowing temporary protected status for thousands of Ethiopians to expire. Now, let me get this right. Trump's not just kicking them out. They were given TPS by Biden, and it had a time and date on it. The date has expired, has nothing to do with the Trump administration, but this federal judge says you got to extend it. It was expired. They came here under the status, under certain circumstances, and they're supposed to be leaving according to the law. And then this judge just decides, no, they get to stay despite the law. So this judge is not ruling on the law. This judge is ruling around the law. And I don't know what it's going to take to clean this up. Congress clearly is completely dysfunctional, and they don't have the courage to start impeaching judges for going extra constitutional. They don't have the courage to start taking this issue on. The remedy for a rogue judge is impeachment and removal. And I can't remember through history when the last time that ever happened is. It did used to happen more regularly in the early days of our country, but I don't know how we fix this. We need scoring of some type. We need a tribunal to vet out the opinions of some of these judges like Boasberg, who can take the power of the bench and try to extend it. We've had these federal judges trying to put out injunctions and rulings for the entire country outside of their districts, little low level district judges doing this kind of stuff. And then it winds up in the appellate courts, and then they always get overturned. Sometimes it goes all the way to the Supreme Court. But these ridiculous rulings that are not serving anybody but their own political interest. That's an outrage ruling. It's the second outrage of the day from the courts. The other one was this thug that killed the Iranian immigrant that was, y'all know, this Irina that everybody was so sympathetic toward. We just found out that the guy that killed her, this Carlos, whatever his name was, he's never going to stand trial now. They've decided he's not competent to be tried. That's going to make the blood boil of people in this country. Her name was Irina Zarutska. Let me say that correctly. Said he killed her because she was a white girl. But they took him to a mental hospital and they decided, he's not competent. We can't put him on trial. This guy had, how many mugshots were just on my TV screen? How many times has he been arrested for stuff? That's our system right now. Criminals running loose, getting away with stuff, and judges making up the law. Well, America. Ox Foundation Solutions. I was just talking about your foundation and how your gutters protect your house. Well, you got to protect it down low, even if you got good gutters and everything's going well. Ox will come out to your house and take a look around. If you suspect problems, sometimes your house will just tell on itself. You can feel it. You can smell it in the air. It's a little dank, a little musty. Something's going wrong. And you need to get them to come check that. I'm not saying you should take a flashlight and go crawl under there. If you got a crawl space, I don't know what's under your house. Let Ox come and do it. They're trained to know what they're looking at. And they'll head off trouble for you or just fix something could get way worse as we get into the rainy season. And eventually, I guess it is going to rain again. And of course, if we get into the humidity of summertime, Ox does all of it. House leveling, crack shifts, water removal, mold. They'll get the mold out of your house. And then finally, once you've got everything straight, encapsulation so it never comes back. 100% professional, totally the best in the business. Get them over to your house and take good care of your home. It's oxstrong.com, O-X, oxstrong.com. Bottom of the hour, back here in just a minute, Leland Live. Man, it's time to talk to Thomas over at Stockton Mortgage. He's always got a good word for us. They're making people's dreams come true, solving problems, getting to the bottom of it. Mortgages can be complex, but if you got a great organization like Stockton holding your hand and getting you through it, it's a whole lot easier. Thomas, what's going on, man?
Did you say no? Hey, Leland, how are you?
Hey, man, doing well.
Hey, man, I appreciate you saying those kind words. That's what we love doing. We're constantly having people contact us where they may have talked to someone else, and where they just not feeling warm and fuzzy, where they not getting the answers that they think they should get, or maybe people aren't explaining it exactly fully. People fast talkers where they're trying to just get them off the phone, and a lot of times this day and time, nobody wants to explain things fully and just go through to the details. And that's where I think where we really shine. We want our clients to fully understand their options and what's going to entail from the beginning to the end of the transaction, and what's going to happen from application through processing, through underwriting, and then to closing. What's next? What's going to happen? And that creates, not knowing creates anxiety. And our job, one of our main jobs, is to make sure that the client knows what's going to happen next, so that we can create the best possible outcome where they're not anxious during the transaction. Because buying a home, as especially if it's your first home, it can be, overwhelming. And if we can make that process seem easier, that's what our job is to do, is to make that seem easier and make it a more relaxed atmosphere for everybody. And knowledge is key. And
good
giving that knowledge
communication.
to the buyers. Good
communication. That's
very
critical.
Absolutely. So,
Absolutely.
if you're out there and you may be getting information that you don't understand, hey, give us a call. Let us sit down with you and see if we can explain things to you. Give us a call, 205-859-8859, or savewithstockton.com.
Savewithstockton.com. Thomas, we will chat with you tomorrow, my friend.
Yes, sir. All right, bye-bye.
I know the guys are so busy this time of the year with all that's going on. People get a little active in the spring. And, of course, consumer confidence is part of that whole industry. We've talked a lot about the economy and everything going on with those markets today, but that's part of it. People either feel like it's time to make a change, take out a mortgage, buy that home, whatever. And I think, just like our previous call, it called about the price of gas, that unnerves people. But as I insinuated to my friend Scott, it's not a crisis. We are not in a crisis. This country has seen crises, and anything that is, hurtful to the pocketbook, it's temporary. We all know it's temporary. The way you know that is last night, the oil prices crashed 15% almost instantly on the glimmer that there could be good news in this. And as I heard, what's that Mr. Wonderful's guy's name? I forgot. He was in that movie, Marty Supreme. Pretty funny guy. I saw an analysis by him today, and he's pretty on the edge of the stuff and watching commodities. He said, we're going to go back under $70 a barrel the second the straits open and the flow's going again. It's all artificial, every bit of it. It's more of a threat than actual reality. And sometimes that's all it takes. It's like any hostage situation. I've compared it to some of the hostage situations I've covered over the years, just up close and personal. And you've all seen the movies where, we've all watched Die Hard, right? Anytime you've got one guy with one gun can create chaos by threatening the life of one person. You can hold up a whole bank. You can hold up all the police. There's one that stands out in my mind where we had a whole bank surrounded. There was supposed to be a guy inside with a gun holding people on the floor. Cops had him outgunned. Cops had the tactical ability to do what they wanted, but they were trying to unwind it by resolving it without too much other carnage and loss of life. The threat that person could kill an innocent person with just that single weapon, despite being completely surrounded by dozens, if not hundreds of other weapons, is what makes it effective for the moment, but it always gets resolved. The Strait is a hostage situation. We don't even know what their capability is at this point, but because of the geography, and by the way, this bears repeating, and I know it's radio and it's hard to paint a map for you, but I'll give it a shot. By now, some of you have seen the map of the Strait and how it's a big curve in the waterway that goes between the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman, and it goes, it curves up kind of like into Iran. There's the peninsula where UAE is, and it goes around. Well, it's one thing to see that choke point and see that 22-mile gap where it chokes down. But even beyond that, there's a shipping lane that's only part of that waterway is deep enough for these massive super tankers, right? So the shipping lane itself is only 2 miles wide. And I've learned all this too, trying to brush up on all the news every day. And then beyond that, that 2-mile corridor, it's not something that was trenched. It's the natural corridor. There might have been some trenching, but it's the natural corridor through the strait, which takes the ships really close to the shore of Iran. So to transverse the strait, you've got to get into the track basically where the ships come and go, and you got to move toward the Iranian coast. It gives them an even greater advantage, which even after these talks or whatever gets settled or not, whether we're shooting again in a week and a half or peace breaks out, Iran's always going to have that geographical advantage, and they've had that since before oil was discovered. Even in the days of just normal shipping and commerce, they've always, before the mullahs took over, they've always had the advantage of being able to, they used to toll and tax people, and there used to be a lot of piracy. It's similar to why it's Somalia. Remember all the boat hijackings off the coast of Somalia? Some of those ships have to come a little too close to Somalia to get around that part of Africa. And that gives the Somalians, you put a couple of Somalians with a couple of guns into a rickety ass little boat, and next thing you know, you got that Captain Phillips movie. And so same thing in the Red Sea with Yemen. The world has choke points like this. Anyway, enough of the geography lesson. Let's see, oil futures. I'm looking at a price here. It looks like oil futures are starting to drop again tonight. So the market's closing and the futures markets kick in. I'll get a number on that here in just a little bit. It's too much to track in the moment because I'm also looking at this other story that just popped out. Let me get you updated on it too. By the way, we got room for maybe 2-3 more calls before we get done tonight. If y'all want to keep doing that, 545-9950. According to the FBI, they've arrested a former U.S. Special Operations Command employee for leaking classified information to the media. Trump warned that they'd hunt down whoever leaked the missing pilot story. I'm not sure if this is it, but remember how yesterday and the day before the administration was saying they believe they have narrowed down whoever put that out because they put that pilot's life in danger. The F-15 went down, and the Iranians probably knew that it went down, and one pilot got ejected. And of course, we did this daylight run to go get him, got him very quickly, but they didn't know the status of that there was another pilot on foot running for his life through their country until they were alerted by a media leak that came from somebody on the inside of the administration. I don't know if this is going to be the same person. Let me just read here what Kash Patel put out. It said, the FBI and our partners have arrested a former SOCOM employee who supported our top-level military warfighters for allegedly transmitting classified information to a member of the media. It was outstanding work by the Charlotte FBI office, the Counterintelligence and Espionage Division. He gives some credit to a bunch of other agencies. It says, let this serve as a message to would-be leakers. We're working on these cases. We're making arrests, and the FBI will not tolerate those who seek to betray our country and put Americans in harm's way. They don't say specifically that this was the Iranian pilot missing story or not. We're going to have to wait for more details on that. Again, we don't know what they leaked. A lot of speculation that that is what this case is about. Let me see what else we can say. Case update from the Charlotte office says this. Former Army employee and top secret clearance holder arrested and charged with leaking classified defense information. I'm going to read you their post from their post that they just put out this afternoon from that office. It says Courtney Williams swore an oath to safeguard our nation's secrets and as an employee supporting special military unit of the Army, but she allegedly betrayed that oath by sharing classified information with a media outlet and putting our nation and warfighters and our allies at risk. The indictment should serve as a stark warning to all current and former clearance holders thinking of violating their positions of trust. If you jeopardize our national security by disclosing classified information without authorization, the FBI will hold you accountable. And then it goes on. That was the field office saying very much what Kash Patel said. I'm curious as to whether this is directly related to Iran or something else. But if you think about the leaker in Iran, let's just extrapolate here for a minute. They didn't just put the pilot's life in danger. That's our first conclusion. We jumped to conclusions on that. They put everybody that had to go in there and rescue that pilot last weekend in danger. When those C-130s got stuck, you know how many lives could have gotten lost if the Iranians had been able to get to them? The money, the expense, blowing up our planes just to get our guy back. Now, we'd have had to do some of that anyway, but it made it even more dangerous that they gave the Iranians a head start to pursue our guy on the ground, whoever did that leaking. I'm still waiting to see if they've connected these two cases. Maybe we'll get an answer on that here in just a few minutes. Distinctive Pools bringing you the show tonight. Man, if you've been thinking about putting a pool in, this is your pool company. You're not going to find, I don't know, I haven't searched everybody in Alabama, but I don't think there's more expertise at any pool firm anywhere in the state than Gary Levesque's team. Gary himself, after serving in the military, he's a proud veteran too. He became involved in the hardscape business, which led to him getting into the pool business, which has now led to him being back in the pool and the hardscape business. He told me that whole story, and he's got 40 years on his own. Nowadays, those two disciplines have come together where people are building all these things as one sort of outdoor living unit, so you can swim in the summer and hang out by the pool in the winter and in the fall, watching your favorite movies, and, man, get a blanket and watch a ball game outside with your pool glistening. That is something else. Entertain around it during the winter. Our winters aren't that bad here in Alabama, so y'all take him up on it and let Gary come out and his team, or somebody on his team. He's got a whole staff of people that also have deep experience, and they're just the best. Man, if you want it done right so it looks like it fits your home, my advice has always been don't put an ugly pool on your house. Put a nice pool on your house, and it'll look like it's part of your house. If you're going to do a cheap pool, just don't do one. Go to Walmart, get one of those plastic things, put some water in it, throw it away at the end of the summer, then you're good. But if you're going to invest in one, do it right and do it with Distinctive. They can design something beautiful and get you financed. That's always key if you want to get this project pulled together quickly. DistinctivePools.com, DistinctivePools.com. Back here in a minute. All right, 551 Leland Live, Talk 99.5. We're about to wrap things up. Southern Skies Dermatology, also long-term sponsor on the show, gives me a chance to give you a little nudge, twist your arm a little bit to do several things. Go get those checks. We've all got those in our life. Ladies, you got to do the breast cancer exams, as bad as it sucks to go do it. You just got to do it. Guys, the old Moon River, man, prostate, Lord, nobody wants to do that. Bring a pack of cigarettes. It's going to happen. And the other exams, they get so much emphasis, but one that doesn't get enough, except for on this show, is just go get a basic skin cancer checkup. You may not have anything of concern, but they know what they're looking for, and getting the all clear is peace of mind. But especially if something has shown up, something is unusual, you're just not sure about it, let them help you figure that out. They're the cancer experts. This is all they do, is find it, remove it day in and day out to help people get on with their lives. My mom has had one heck of a battle with melanoma, and you don't want it to travel. You don't want it to grow. You want to be ahead of it, and it could absolutely save your life. Y'all go see him at Southern Skies. You'll appreciate Dr. Mario's expertise with the Mohs procedure and his whole team. They're just the kindest folks. I actually enjoyed the visits, except for the part where I ain't got much clothes on. Then I just kind of look at the wall and answer all the questions. SouthernSkiesDermatology.com. New location coming on 280 sometime this year. I don't know when they're going to get that finished, but I'm excited for them. SouthernSkiesDermatology.com. All right, let's grab a couple more calls. I'm still following this FBI arrest on the leaker and see if it's going to connect back to this Iran leak or if it's something else. Tammy's going to be first. Line 2. What's up, Tammy?
Hey, Leland. How are you doing?
Doing well.
I just wanted to tell you how much I appreciate it as a listener that you articulate things so well that us common folks can understand, that you put it down where it, the rubber meets the road. And I just appreciate you doing that.
Well, thank you for saying that. That's a huge compliment. I figure if I explain it in a way I could understand it, most of y'all can understand it. So
yeah,
that's what we try to do.
And you do a great job. I really do appreciate you. I mean, it's where you are where I come for all of my news. So I get in the car and I try to listen to you at work, but I mainly listen to you driving home. So.
Well, I appreciate you doing that too. That's what keeps us here day after day, and that was kind of you to call, Tammy.
All right. Thank you. Have a great evening.
All right, you too. Let's go to Mary. Mary, one more call. I think, we got time for Mary. Go, Mary. What's up?
Oh, my gosh. Okay, I am very nervous about this, but I am calling because I want to say thank you, because I was listening a couple of weeks ago when the guy called in saying his mother was scammed, went to the bank, they picked up the money from her personally. I'm visiting my elderly parents, and there was a situation where my dad was on the phone, and he was going to Walmart to get scammed, and I would not let him out of the house. Wow. Whoever that guy was, I want to say thank you very much, because I remember that conversation. I know the situation was a little bit different, but he saved us. And I just remember, I just had that playing back in my head. And if any of your tech people can help us out, I would love to know, because he was looking at some transactions on his phone, and he was saying something about, like, maybe it was Apple Pay fraud or something. I don't know all the details, but it's like as if like you could see what was being going on his phone, because he said, do not get on your computer, do it and look at the transactions, do everything from your phone, which was an iPhone. So I don't know how that went down, but thank you very much.
Well, look, I appreciate you saying that, because that day he called, I felt so helpless because I didn't know what to do, and I was trying to dig through his conversation, and he was just barreling through his story.
It's heartbreaking.
But and I just felt for him, and I just also felt helpless. But then I kept thinking, and this is why I'm glad you called, Mary, that somebody else is going to hear this, and it's going to raise awareness, even if we couldn't help him figure out what had happened to his mother. That other people will hear this and now be more sensitive to these scams. We almost can't train enough to know how sneaky people can be and how they prey on the elderly. And I think there's a special place in hell for people that do that, for sure.
For sure, because they get them all worked up and all frazzled, and you don't know what's going on, and you have to act immediately. And it was just, I was not going to let that happen. So I hope that person is listening, because that just resonated in my head. And thank you very much, because you did help somebody.
Well, thank you, Mary. That's very, very kind of you. 2 kind calls. Boy, I needed that. That was uplifting. Thank you, Mary. It is rewarding to hear that. Sometimes you just want to know you're doing a good job. You know what I mean, AJ?
I know exactly what you mean.
When it comes from the listeners, it's even more appreciated, and I sincerely mean that. All right, as I'm trying to get a handle on this spy leak thing, I cannot find any confirmation that it's directly related to our the leak of the missing pilot. Whatever it was, I'm sure we'll find out details of whatever was leaked. People online assuming that's the story and calling for her to be, treason, execution, especially all that was put at risk by this person trying to curry favor with somebody they have in the media. It's just outrageous. They should, if this woman did, if that's what she leaked and put these people in danger, they should put her in the same room with that guy that stabbed the Ukrainian girl, let them hang out for a little while. Once he's taking care of business, then shoot him. Then there'd be justice in the world. But we'll see how the actual justice system handles all of it. That was a bit harsh, but that's how I feel right now. Just frustrated. All right, man, one more time for Greg Nelson and Storm Restoration Roofing. We're not going to get any rain for a while. We're heading into drought conditions, but sooner or later, with the changing of the seasons, we're going to wind up with one of those tornado outbreaks or some of these strong springtime storms. We'll never forget April 27th. We're still in April, and that date is with infamy. Just in case you ever need a roofer, you may be good to go with a newer roof that's not aging out, and so far so good, but instantly you could be desperate for a roofer. And I'm encouraging you to put Greg's number somewhere in your contacts so you can find him if you need him. It's Greg Nelson. He's at Storm Restoration Roofing. He's simply the best in the business. Almost 30 years. I'm rounding him off a little bit. Greg and I are getting up there where we're counting things in decades, but almost 30 years in the business, and it'll be done right if he does it. The pricing is fair. Their expertise on dealing with crazy insurance claims and all the complexities of that. You don't want to just trust anybody on the roof of your house. You don't need to be up there checking it out yourself. Let Greg come take a look. His number, that number you need to put away, is 205-542-3531, 205-542-3531, Storm Restoration Roofing. Pray for peace and stay tuned for Breaking Bread back here tomorrow.
Goodbye, AJ.